Nursing homes are not usually thought of as blight on a community or a source of public controversy. Then there is South Pasadena Convalescent Hospital in suburban Los Angeles.
We're averaging over 60 times a month we'd have to go to that hospital for calls for service from either staff or the patients in that hospital.
The nursing home sits along a busy stretch of brick storefronts in South Pasadena, not far from where the Tournament of Roses parade begins each year. Unlike many traditional nursing homes, which serve the elderly and frail, South Pasadena has made a practice of also accepting younger patients with a secondary diagnosis of mental illness, creating a sometimes volatile mix among the residents. In the last decade, Chief Miller said, crime was becoming so prevalent in and around the facility that his officers started doing daily walkthroughs to talk with residents and staff.
During some of those walks and some of those radio calls that we responded to, we took crime reports for sexual assaults, robberies, batteries, thefts. At one point, there were some drug dealing going on in there. We have documentation of some of this activity. And it was going on right under the noses of staff there. And it's very frustrating because typically this is not a police issue per se, it's more of a health department issue.
South Pasadena Convalescent Hospital is one of 81 facilities owned by Los Angeles entrepreneur Shlomo Rechnitz, the state's largest nursing home owner. It is also one of 3 facilities decertified in recent months by the federal government for problems so serious that regulators cut off its Medicare and Medi-Cal money.
The South Pasadena Convalescent Hospital that's near our office has had an ongoing history of significant problems for a while. For example, 2 of the residents at that facility died under horrible circumstances, and the reports describe the details of their death in ways that are just extraordinarily alarming.
In November, the problems inside South Pasadena Convalescent Hospital spilled out into the community in a violent and tragic way. Courtney Cargill, a 57-year-old mentally ill patient, had signed herself out alone from the facility at 7:30 in the morning on November 7th. She would never return.
And this lady, unfortunately, she ended up leaving the hospital, walking about 3 blocks, bought a gallon of gasoline, and with that gallon of gasoline, she walked another block and a half, went to the back of another gas station, stripped herself naked, doused herself with gasoline, and lit herself on fire. And when our first responders, when our officer got there to answer that radio call, she was still alive. She was talking with the officer. And at one point during the conversation, she said she was afraid to go back to that hospital.
Courtney Cargill died later at the hospital from her burns. Her sister, Casey Cargill, painfully retraced her little sister's final steps recently to begin coming to grips with the tragedy. Shlomo Rechnitz did not wish to be videotaped for this report, but he talked at length with the Bee about South Pasadena and his nursing home company, Brius Healthcare. He believes the South Pasadena facility has made strides in recent months to address police and community concerns.
Our plan is to keep it open. However, I'm not going to do something that the community doesn't want. So we're going to have a policy there that we only accept non-ambulatory patients. So they pretty much have to be in bed. We're not going to be taking any psych patients. We terminated the administrator, the DON, and the regional. We put in a whole new team.
Rechnitz also says he has given the facility a fresh new look and a new name, Mission Grove Healthcare and Wellness Center.
We painted the front of the building. We put in new beautiful landscaping. We redid the lobby so you walk in and it looks more like a hotel. We have valet parking, for God's sake, so it looks like you're pulling up to a fancy restaurant. However, we are decertified, which means that every month it costs me approximately $750,000 to service these patients, and I don't get paid $1.
Rechnitz acknowledges that caring for the mentally ill is challenging, but he believes the state has failed in its responsibilities to this population. He said it is not unusual for mentally ill people to need skilled nursing, and he has been willing to help them.
So, is it a harder population to manage? Yes, it's definitely a harder population to manage. The state wants nothing to do with these people. The county wants nothing to do with these people. The hospitals want nothing to do with these people.
In April, Medicare and Medi-Cal patients were abruptly moved to other facilities after they were told by their managed care plans they could not remain in a decertified facility. Rechnitz has brought in a new administrator and new staff and is confident he will pass the necessary inspections to get his funding restored. But some advocates remain worried about the future of this facility, and others owned by Shlomo Rechnitz. Molly Davies is head of Los Angeles' Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, which investigates complaints in nursing homes.
In some instances, when Brias takes over facilities, we will see some cosmetic changes, painting, landscaping, that kind of thing. But it is rare that we see the quality of care increase, and in some instances, we see that decrease.
Davies says she is frustrated it has taken this long for the California Department of Public Health and federal regulators to crack down on the South Pasadena facility.
If that's what it takes to get new management in there, that's far too long. Because in the interim, we have individuals who are quite frankly not getting the care that they need and suffering.